From time to time, our computers don't want to play well with the programs that we have downloaded and installed, or they don't want to update properly. So I'm going to display a couple of ways that you can navigate through those hurdles if you come up against any installation and or updating problems. I'm placing these best practices in order of importance and in order of functionality. So complete these steps in order, and after completing each step, it's imperative that you restart your computer to see if any of the changes that you've just made has affected the installation or updating process. If it has in fact fixed the problem, then you know that you don't need to go to the next step and you've saved yourself a lot of time. If it has not fixed the problem, go on to the next step and make sure yet again that you're restarting in between each step and making the applicable checks. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to ensure that all of our drivers are up to date. Making sure that your drivers are up to date will give you a best foot forward and in most cases can actually solve most installation/update issues. Now, one product that I highly recommend and use very often is 𝗧𝗵𝗃 Utilities. It has a free version that will check all of your drivers at once and then tell you which ones need updating to save you a ton of time. It also has a ton of other invaluable features such as a duplicate file finder and a registry error fix program. Later on, if you should so choose to update to the paid version, you have access to a whole suite of useful programs that do not contain any limitations whatsoever. In the PDF handout that's included with this module, I've included all applicable links to this program, as well as other links that I'll be speaking of in this particular module. If you don't feel comfortable downloading this program online, there are other ways that you can do that on your desktop by simply going to the desktop itself and clicking the Windows button and the S button together. This then brings up your search bar, in which case you can go to Device Manager, as found here. And from here, you can go to each and every one of these and right-click and go Update Driver. Search automatically for updated driver software. And finally, it will tell you if the best driver for your particular device is already installed or if one has to be downloaded from the internet. If you're not connected to the internet, this process could be a little bit more tricky. If that is the scenario, then you would have to go to each one of your programs and or devices' original websites to download the drivers off of there onto an external USB drive, then bring them back to your PC that's not connected to the internet and upload them from there. As you can see, this could be very time consuming with all of the various drivers that you would have to go through here and update. So if you're going to do it this way, make sure that you set aside a couple of hours, if not more, of time to go through here and actually update each one of these drivers. This is why I highly recommend the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 Utilities app to save yourself a ton of time. Another common problem that we run into is that our Windows version is not actually updated. So yet again, going to the desktop, I will hold the Window key and press S again to bring up the search menu and begin to type in Windows Updates. Now from here, as you can see, I actually have an update available. So I'm going to make sure that I have downloaded and installed everything that is needed for my OS or operating system to be up and running and functional. All right, so by ensuring that you're running the latest version of Windows and that all applicable updates are installed, you're going to have a best foot forward. Likewise, be sure that you're running the latest version of the BandLab Assistant. You need to have the BandLab Assistant version updated before you can actually update Cakewalk by BandLab as a DAW. Okay, and the next step we're going to talk about is setting up your permissions for the Cakewalk by BandLab app. So you can see if I go to the desktop and I right-click on the icon here, and then right-click on this area that says Cakewalk by BandLab, it actually opens up the option to run as an administrator found here. However, if I would like to make this a set it and forget it option, I can simply go to Properties, Compatibility, and from here, I can change the settings for all users and select Run this program as an administrator. And now hit Apply. So now every time I open Cakewalk by BandLab, it's automatically going to be ran as an administrator. One of the most common problems that occur when a program is trying to be installed or updated has to do with the built-in safety features that are included in the operating system. So when preparing an update or an install from a reputable company and safe links, it is imperative to turn off anything that may flag the operating system as a potential threat. Now, there are several ways that you can do this, so let's dive into covering those now. The first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have no pop-up blockers enabled. So by holding the Windows button and pressing S, I'm going to type in pop-up blocks. And as you can see, just by typing the word pop, it's brought this up here. Now, as you can see, I have my pop-up blocker turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and hit apply. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to ensure that there are no antivirus programs running in the background. Yet again, by holding the Windows key and hitting S, I'm going to type in antivirus. As you can see, it brings up virus and threat protection here. All right, that will then bring up this screen, which will allow you to see if your antivirus is currently on or not. As you can see, I actually have mine turned off now, as the ability to turn it on is the only thing that I see. Now, I use a third-party antivirus software, so I don't necessarily use the one that's built into the operating system. So if you have a third-party antivirus software, you'll need to ensure that that one is closed as well, or not operating in the background. All right, and next, we need to make sure that the firewall settings are allowing the program to run through as well. Yet again, holding the Windows key and pressing S, I'm going to begin to type in firewall. As you can see, it comes up as an option here. Windows Defender Firewall. But we're going to go to Firewall and Network Protection. Yet again, I have all of these turned off on my particular system. Yours may be set to on. So you'll just need to go to each one of these and select them off. Okay, and lastly, we need to check our Windows Defender settings. Windows Defender is much like a firewall, but it works a little bit differently and is labeled as such. So by holding the Windows key, pressing S again, I'm going to begin to type in Defender. And I want to bring up this screen here, Windows Defender Firewall and Advanced Security. If you can't find this particular screen, all you have to do is type in Windows Defender Firewall and Advanced Security in the search bar as we just pulled up a minute ago. Now I'm going to go to Inbound Rules, and I'm going to make sure that Cakewalk, as you can see here, is checked with a green check mark, which means that it is allowed through the Windows Defender Firewall. If for some reason it is not, I can simply right-click on it like I've just done. Then by clicking Enabled and Allow the Connection and hit OK, now no longer will Cakewalk by BandLab be stopped by the Windows Defender firewall settings from updating and or installing. Sometimes an older system, such as Windows Vista or Windows 7, will not contain the previous updates that, for whatever reason, were not migrated into the newer operating system's update. So as a last resort for older computers, when this occurs, it is usually an older Microsoft update that is required for Cakewalk by BandLab to update. Usually, it is the Microsoft Visual Studio updates. Found within the PDF download of this particular module are a list of all of the applicable updates that you may need to actually install for those older computers. So if you have completed all of the previous steps and you're still unable to get up and running, an often underutilized resource is the Cakewalk Forum. There are a ton of resources there, as well as a knowledgeable group of longtime Cakewalk users, as well as staff members that can help you work through whatever issues that may arise. The website address to the Cakewalk Forms Frequently Asked Questions section is located in the PDF download that is included with this particular module.